This is the plaintiff, Michaela Tovar. She says the defendant, her ex-roommate, abandoned her before the end of their lease, leaving her high and dry, fending for herself to cover the rent and utilities. She's glad he's out because he was a nightmare to live with. He had a different girl every night sleep over, gave them his keys, and one of them threw up all over the floor and never cleaned it up. Bottom line, she wants the $587.33 she's owed to cover her still outstanding bills. This is the defendant, Joseph Stover. He says the plaintiff created a hostile living environment, smoked weed in the apartment, making the place uninhabitable for him. Since the plaintiff didn't adhere to the law, he doesn't owe her a penny. He's accused of running out on the rent.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Against have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Michaela Tovar.
Yes.
You are suing Joseph Stover, your former roommate, for $587.33 that you say he owes you in utilities as well as May rent because he didn't give you sufficient notice. Correct. Tell me what's going on.
Joseph moved in November last year, and we signed a written agreement that basically laid out some guidelines for living together, including having constant or consecutive guests for more than 2 nights. And in December, his girlfriend was there for 25 nights, and the other nights that she wasn't there, there was another whichever female there. And when I repeatedly had conversations with Joseph due to his constant drinking, leaving messes constantly, could not keep the kitchen clean, and having people over all the time.
How'd you pick him as a roommate? How did you know each other?
I actually found him on Craigslist. But I did.
Is this a good way to pick who you're going to live with?
Not at all.
Why do people do it so much?
It's the quickest way to find somebody.
Yeah, but then you all end up in front of me.
Right.
I mean, seriously, how are you going to find somebody good, like picking a name out of a hat? Doesn't thought go into who you're going to live with?
Well, he actually knows a few of my longtime friends that I found out through Facebook, and that's the reason that I chose him out of the other applicants. The people that I know have known him since 7th grade.
This is no different than putting an ad in the paper for a roommate, which is also a nuts way to do it, but go ahead. Okay.
So like I said, I had conversations with him numerous times about different things, mainly keeping the apartment clean, and also my dog became a big problem.
Why?
He would let the dog out when I was not there, and she was on a pretty strict schedule.
Out of where?
She's kenneled during the day while I work. One of the days she got out and ate some M&Ms and got sick and was sick for days, and he even complained about her being sick, but it was his fault that she was sick for being let out.
Okay, how do you know she ate the M&Ms?
Because the wrapper was found near her crate, empty, slobbered all over.
All right, okay.
Unless it was him, but I'm pretty sure it was the dog.
Crate. In the crate, I think we're pretty much, it's like a fingerprint. I think we know who ate the, go ahead.
Yes.
Unless he's really weird and did a lot of drinking. Okay. All right, so.
But after a few conversations that I had with him about the cleanliness and the drinking, and it wasn't so much the drinking as just the evidence of the drinking. There were constantly bottles everywhere. The trash can was always filled with bottles, and it began to stink after a couple days. And there was trash piled up next to the door of empty 12-pack containers that would literally stack up to this high before anybody would take them out, and that was me. But he apologized to me and told me that he was going to work on it, and even bought me that paraphernalia that he complained about.
What did you just wink at me for, and what paraphernalia?
Sorry, it was a twitch.
Yeah, what was a paraphernalia?
It was a glass pipe that is used for
smoke
smoking marijuana. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Nothing
says I'm sorry like a bomb. Okay. Okay. So go ahead.
Other than that apology that he gave me, he did tell me that he was going to work on keeping the apartment clean, and with the kitchen, he did make an effort, but it wasn't sufficient.
So, hold on. You didn't. It's not his drinking that bothered you because you're smoking weed, and that didn't bother you. It's that it's not the inebriated states. It's the debris. It's a cleanliness factor. That
he also broke things.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All right. So you. What is it you tell him?
Well, I told him that I didn't appreciate the drinking, and that having people over late at night, because usually they would go out and then come home with people around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and we do live in an apartment complex, so I would ask him to keep it down.
Okay, so when does he decide to move out?
Around April 18th, I got a text message that said that my dog had peed on the carpet and I needed to clean that up. And when I got home, I found out it was his girlfriend's throw up.
How did you find that out?
Well, I had black napkins for the table settings, and one of them was in my bathroom trash can covered in red chunky things. And then there was a red stain on the carpet exactly
Seriously.
where he said the pee stain was. So
what is it you tell him? Do you say to him, you need to get out?
no, I said that I was tired of that, of the constant effects of his drinking, and that I was a day away from looking for a new roommate because I was so tired of it.
Okay.
He replied back to that text message saying, "Don't worry about it. I'm tired of this too. I feel like let me try and quote this. I feel like our lifestyles are not conducive for each other or for us to live together anymore,"
Okay.
and that he would be out by the 1st. And so I drew up at that point an agreement to terminate our original agreement that we had that said, because you're not giving me notice, you're not giving me 30 days notice, which you did sign in the original agreement, that you are still responsible for May's rent and utilities. And he had not paid April's utilities yet because we get billed for that in May.
Let me see the agreement. What's going on?
Well,
Can't you spend one night without a woman?
I've got a lot of female friends.
That's the
I've got a lot of female
termination.
friends that stay over?
They didn't always stay over. A lot of
Okay.
times company was just over late.
Okay.
Michaela's boyfriend lives in the apartment below us, and he pretty much was there every night. So I at first assumed that there wasn't really a huge problem with it.
Okay.
As far as the drinking, there was a lot of partying going on, but it wasn't to any point that was insanely excessive. The trash didn't start building up until later on. When we first started living together, it was actually really nice. We listened to the same kind of music, we got along pretty well, same kind of friends or whatever. Then things just started to like degrade over time. Like when the partying got really heavy, I don't mind people coming over slamming beers or whatever, and even like the minimal pot smoke, it didn't really bother me.
Minimal pot smoke doesn't
Yeah.
bother you. Okay.
Well, it's very hard to
No,
find.
it doesn't bother you. You already said it. Go ahead.
Yeah, true. When everything started to get excessive, when the smoking started to happen inside of the house, when I was going into work, my clothes, like my employees, "Hey, why do you smell like this?" It's like,
Smell like what? Would they say?
marijuana.
You
yeah.
smell like weed? They
Yeah,
would
hey,
tell
you
that?
smell like pot, man. What's going on? Are you partying? It's like, no, dude. I drink beer. That's about it. And it.
I
we had
didn't
initially-
inhale. I just stood next to someone who did.
Well, initially we had agreed not to smoke anywhere in the whole apartment, and Michaela began to smoke in her room, carried through the ventilation system, which is above my closet.
How much did you care about that when you bought her a pipe to say, I'm sorry about something?
The pipe that I bought her, we're both hookah fans. We smoke hookah tobacco. I have a very large hookah in my house. I bought the pipe. Yeah, she probably used it for that. And yeah, I probably knew that. But I bought it as a gift for her birthday, not
So
as an I'm
certainly
sorry.
you did not move out over an issue of illegal drugs. That didn't bother you.
No, I didn't move out over her.
Despite the fact that you say repeatedly that that's why you moved out. So why did you really move out? Because you guys were fighting so much?
We were fighting a lot, and the illegal drugs, I didn't
See, the
care.
illegal drug, this is let me tell you something. You got a right to move out when someone does, this is what we call in the law constructive eviction. If I was living with somebody, it would bother me if they were violating the law.
Okay.
And if it came to my attention and I didn't want it and I moved out, I would expect the judge to say, yeah, you don't have to live in a place where someone's violating the law. Except for we don't have that with you because you don't mind. So that's not why you moved out. So that's not going to give you a chance to break your lease. So why did you? What justification? You weren't constructively evicted because you're so offended that she's smoking pot.
No.
You were perfectly fine with it. So then what legal reason would you have for breaking the lease? Is it that you feel she threw you out? What is it?
Not really. When things began to escalate.
You just didn't want to live there anymore.
Yeah, things began to escalate.
And that's fine. But here's the thing. When you do that could be the best decision you ever made. If she's trying to micromanage your life and everything else, the question becomes then who eats it? Who eats the month of May? Because you re-rented after May, correct?
I have recently re-rented.
Okay, so she's out 1 month's rent, and then the question is who eats it? And so I have to find fault with one or the other to be able to do that. And you guys actually have an agreement. Let me see the agreement.
This is the original.
Uh-huh.
This is the second one.
Was there a security deposit in play here?
Yes.
Where's that?
In the second agreement that terminated the original one, you'll see where that went. He broke my coffee table and replaced it, but when he moved out, he took that with him. And also I added in
Wait. He took the broken one?
No, he replaced it.
He replaced it and bought a new one, but then he took the new one with him, so it's as though he hadn't replaced it.
Correct.
So you're saying that the $400 was used up on the coffee table?
And also the cleaning of the carpets
Of
to have
carpet
that.
stains.
Your Honor, if I may, about the coffee table.
Yeah, go ahead.
The coffee table itself was actually used on the back porch and was already falling apart due to rain damage and other damages and things. It was moved into the living room, and I didn't actually, well, my body broke it, but her boyfriend actually tossed me through it one night when we were all partying.
Her boyfriend tossed you through it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
How?
We were
How old are you
roughhousing.
people? How old are you?
I don't even have a boyfriend.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
How old are you?
I'm 28 now, 28.
Just put me in a coma between now and the time my children are 30.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So would you ever get a roommate off of Craigslist? What do you think?
No.
Huh?
No.
Why?
It's too many crazy people in the world, and you just can't really trust anybody.
You're nodding no?
No, because you never know, since there was a Craigslist serial killer.
Oh, right, because you're thinking of the Lifetime movie, of course, because that's always real. What do you think?
No, because you have to have references. You have to know who you're living with. You have to have some sort of character reference.
Fair enough. You could probably do that still, but I get your point going inside the courtroom.
All right. Now, this is a new agreement. Let's take a look at the new agreement. Did you sign this?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Okay. And what this says is that the lease ceases as of May 1st. Tenant understands that our rental agreement called for 30 days notice before terminating rental agreement, and that this is 20 days notice, and that he's responsible for paying rent and utilities through the month of May for failure to provide proper notice and terminating early. Tenant understands that their deposit will not be refunded due to damage done to the property, stained carpets and rug, and broken coffee table. Tenant will be moved out completely and return the keys to landlord by May 1st. Okay, so now, this is a contract that supersedes the prior contract that you entered into, not me. So why is it I'm supposed to tear this up and ignore it?
What I was trying to mention before concerning the illegal drugs, it wasn't necessarily her use that was a problem for me, because it's hard nowadays to find people our age who don't engage in that sort
Oh,
of
don't tell me that. Don't tell me that, because I'm going to do like a girlfriend and just vomit right here.
That actually wasn't my girlfriend either. We don't know where that came from. She assumes
The
it was my
vomit?
girlfriend.
Because there's no
Yes, Your
test
Honor.
for vomit,
I know.
right?
Yeah,
So we just don't know whose vomit that was?
Well, we got a dog puking all over the house, and then all of a sudden there's vomit. And
All right.
she said vomit, it was red stuff. It looked like fruit punch. to me.
Okay, all righty.
Well, I'm sorry. Anyways,
That's
what
all right. I asked. Go ahead.
It wasn't necessarily the drug use, like I said, that was the problem. It was when, like I mentioned, things really began to escalate. It was when people were coming in and out quickly. I began to suspect that stuff was being sold out of there. And
That she was selling drugs?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I spoke with members
My friend,
of,
you signed a contract. Why am I supposed to ignore this? Tell me what reason I have for ignoring this. Because I didn't sign it, you did.
Correct.
So why shouldn't I hold you? If I hold you to this, you owe her exactly what she says you owe her. So why did you sign this?
When I signed that, I was already moved, or I had already moved into a different property. I was living in a different place on my own, got my own place, so I wouldn't have any more roommate issues. My belongings, there were lots of expensive belongings still there that I was concerned about, and I signed it out of fear of retribution.
Okay. So why shouldn't I hold you to it? Because that's not legal duress.
No, I realize that.
You know, that's not a gun to your head. That's not you think somebody's safety is at stake. That's not, you know.
No,
I mean,
no.
That's just, okay, so it was expedient for you to sign it at the time. Now it's not expedient for you to abide by it?
I felt based on the situation, the way we were living together, the things that were happening while I was there was so much garbage going on. It's like, you know what, I really don't feel that I owe her this. She has made my life miserable for months. Now I have to move into a new place and accrue moving expenses way before my lease was terminated. I had no intention of moving out. I was hoping to get a roommate for at least a year.
Okay, folks, it's easy, okay? In life, sometimes we make decisions, and those decisions could be the best decisions we can make, but they cost us. You made a decision that you didn't want to deal with her anymore, and that might be a great decision for you. You don't want any more roommate issues. You want to be able to party all you want without anybody telling you to take out the bottles. That's great, okay? That's great, but that's going to cost you because you entered into this, see? So once you enter into this, unless there's legal duress, and what you described is not duress, okay? There's no reason for me not to abide by this. This is a contract that supersedes the old contract. And even then, based on your testimony, let's assume you hadn't signed this. Based on your testimony, you would have a hard time showing constructive eviction anyway. Constructive eviction is when you can say, hey, I don't owe the landlord anything because they basically evicted me by their conduct. Judge, look at what they did. They're doing drugs all the time. I'm totally against that. You don't even have that because you're looking them in the eye and everything but winking. So that's not true either. There was no constructive eviction. There's just, you don't get along with her. She's a pain, you don't want her editing your moves, and you want to be on your own. You don't want to be, and that's fine, but that's going to cost you. That's not going to cost her because you have a lease and you signed a contract saying you were going to pay her. So you will have to pay her $587.33. Verdict for the plaintiff.
So you signed the lease, and now you're going to pay the piper. What's your
Apparently
reaction
so.
to the verdict here?
Well, I guess that's what I get for trying to find a cheap place to live. I guess you get what you pay for.
That's true. You understand now that what you tried to pull over on the judge in there was sort of making up an excuse after the fact on why you left.
Maybe, maybe not. Legally, the judge was right, of course. But I personally felt that I didn't belong there and I didn't need to pay her. So.
Well, you condoned the activities there for a while.
Yeah, the activities until they became extremely bad activities.
All right, right around the corner here.
Right this way.
All right, come on in here. How bad did the activities get?
They were not terrible at all. All of my neighbors are my friends, and they don't all smoke pot, so they would come over and hang out, and he just assumed the worst, and that's okay. I'm very happy.
Mm-hmm. He even intimated that there were some drug sales going on out of there. Are you a drug dealer?
I'm a huge, huge drug dealer, actually. I sling kilos of cocaine. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know. I know you're just kidding.
The look you gave me, you know. No, I do not sell drugs.
Okay, Harvey?
All right, ma'am.
Okay, Kurt, if you're not getting along with your roommate, the best thing to do is to try to break the logjam. Sit down with the person and say, look, we're not getting along. Let's figure out some kind of a departure thing where who gets what, who has to pay what, and work it all out before you both or one of you move out, because that's when you have lawsuits. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.